the show notes for today. I had my joke ready. Disconnect your wireless mouse before recording. Cute.
Disconnected. Oh, I think your mouse
What
wasn't
other
bad
mouse
last
can I
time.
have?
It
What other
was
mouse do I have?
it was the ice in your cup from the last time.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 9 of 2024. I'm Chris Louie, and happy to still have power with all the wind and rain we've been getting.
That's
We're
crazy.
recording this.
Sorry.
It is. Did you get the hurricane winds yesterday?
I got a little bit, but not too bad. But I'm just astounded by the fact that we only have one power company in the Bay Area. Actually, you have two. I only have one. So
I have one. It's the Shinra Electric Power Company, apparently. And I'm forced to get my energy from Peninsula Clean Energy. So I had no choice in the matter.
Well, pretty soon Tesla as well, right? They'll be doing your solar panels.
Yes, very soon, hopefully.
but that's if
Crossing
you
my
can get a
fingers.
charge with it being so cloudy in the wintertime.
That'll be enough.
With all the rice cookers over there and the steam coming off the
That's
houses.
a joke. We are recording early this week because I will be in sunny San Diego with the family later this week. With me, I have my co-host, Havoc the Mouthpiece, who plans to travel to San Francisco to get a breakfast burrito.
If I'm ever in town, I'm going to that spot to get that burrito. It looked pretty good. I don't know about the spam one, but the other ones look pretty sweet. And by the way, I understand why you're going to San Diego. It's cold there. The water's like green. You can barely even get into it. It's this a disgusting town. You should go somewhere else. More fun.
What? Are you crazy?
Yeah, I hate San Diego. Well, I hate all of California to be in general, but
All right, that's fair.
Lies.
Oh.
Lies.
Well, Brian, I will be somewhere different next week. So I'll
we're
be
going to
taking
be at
another
next
trip.
week.
The listeners will have to find out. It'll be a surprise.
Oh, wow.
Stay tuned, listeners.
Stay tuned.
Mountainous, cavernous.
And that, my friends, is called a teaser. And we have Glenn Medina, or should we call him President's Club Glenn, or PCG. Congrats on making it 2 years in a row.
Thanks, gentlemen. Like I said, didn't do it alone. I was happy to have some great partners and peers. But like I said, keep it on down low, and like I said, happy to make it again. So,
Does your back hurt from carrying the team?
no such thing. No such
Severe
thing.
back injury from carrying the team.
Talking to you, Greg.
Just honored to be recognized and go. So.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again. We'll have to find a fill-in for you when you're gone that week. It is a pretty far destination. We wouldn't want you to work on your hard-earned trip.
Well, maybe we can record before, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll get Ben. Ben will fill in for you.
Yeah, this is kind of an odd one, right? Because the club is on a Thursday to Tuesday. Normally, it's a weekday thing. So, but,
yeah, usually it's Monday through Thursday.
yeah, I think this time though, I've convinced the wife that we can leave a day or two early, relax, and then come back. And instead of coming directly back, we may stop in like the Keys or in Florida somewhere. So we'll see.
Where's it at?
Nice.
Yeah, Turks and Caicos. It's gonna be nice.
Oh, nice.
Never been. So
It'll be good. No guests this week, just us hosts. We do have an amazing episode planned for next week to celebrate our episode 150, so be sure to tune into that one. You won't want to miss it. Combined, we have decades of information security experience in here, not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Brian just have an autoplay video.
No, I think that was Glenn, not me.
that was me. Sorry, guys. At 4 minutes and 5 seconds, we got to delete that piece.
Brian jumps. I thought it was his autoplay.
It was really loud.
This week, we're going to talk about tech for burglars, taking your face off For our third topic, Trojaned iPhone applications, and close with some unwritten rules of life. For our first topic, thieves in Minnesota are using devices to knock out Wi-Fi cameras before committing burglaries to prevent them from recording the footage. This is nothing new, and the lockpicking lawyer even did a video on some of the novel attack methods to knock out Wi-Fi enabled or other wireless alarm systems, but they are becoming more common as the tools to create the required electronic interference becomes more available and affordable. At least here in California, thieves don't even bother to knock out the Wi-Fi or wear a mask to conceal their identity from cameras, since they likely won't get prosecuted even if they're caught. The possible mitigation here is to hardwire the camera and not have it rely on Wi-Fi to broadcast the video to the cloud or a network video recorder.
I take it they're not using anything like that clicker, that little thing that you guys bought.
Flipper Zero. You can do it with that.
Zero, yeah.
Flipper.
You can do it with that.
Yeah, if you add the Wi-Fi module onto the Flipper, you can do that.
But it's just a matter of just interrupting
enough,
that signal, right? That 2.4 or 5 gigahertz channel, right?
Yeah, it's either creating enough interference so you can have a local device create enough interference, or you can even do a deauth attack, which is what I did with the Pineapple. If you remember many SKOs ago, I did a deauth attack against the hotel's Wi-Fi, and then I replaced it with my Wi-Fi signal.
I remember that. And I feel like everyone that actually fell victim to that should have been fired on the spot. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's like, what the heck, Chris?
I had some fun
this is
with
why
that.
The other mitigation would be a device that does local storage as well.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think they actually said that if it records to like a local SD card and not just Wi-Fi, that could work.
If only there was a... Yeah, no, just kidding.
So I probably shouldn't even tell this story, but I have a child that just does not want to do chores around the house. And so like through a lot of conversations, it's like, hey, if you just don't do it, like we're just going to turn off your internet. And like that's pretty, doesn't sound like much, but there's a lot relied on by home Wi-Fi, right? And you just can't do her job if it's tethered. So we were leaving, and I knew that she was in, like, the goal was you have it done by Saturday, right? And by like 11 o'clock. And she's like, well, I'm going to be gone Saturday, so I'll just do it Friday. I said, okay, well, just get it done Friday. And she goes, you'll never know because you're not going to be home when I actually get it done by. I said, okay. So then I went upstairs and I put a camera up. And you can see her walk into the room, like, just look right at it like, this mother effer. And she was doing it on Sunday. And so she had no Wi-Fi for the week. She was not happy. She was so mad at me. But
So what's a chore like in the Deach household for a kid? Just clean a common area?
Well, for this one, it's like a Saturday mornings, like you just have to vacuum. For her, she just has to vacuum the upstairs. And it takes all of 6 minutes to do. So
yeah. I'd be
But
like, Dad, I found a solution. I took the Roomba from downstairs and I put it upstairs, and we're done. So
that could be one, but no. Yeah, so that was... Anyways, so she was not happy. I came home. I think we came back like Sunday night after Super Bowl Sunday, and she just chock full of attitude, just pissed at me. I was like, well, you're the one said I wouldn't know. I guess I do know right now. I'll see if I can pull the video off local storage and just watch, like, just the look on her face as she's doing it and just sees it. She just stops for a second. She's like, damn it.
I guess since you knocked out the Wi-Fi, that's what you mean, you had to have the local video to record that.
Well, no, she just can't get on Wi-Fi from her devices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's enabled for everyone else, just not her.
Yeah.
How quick until she finds a workaround? Like she just brute force guesses the pin on your iPad.
Well, she'd have to find my iPad first, right? Like, not gonna happen. Right? That's dad stuff.
Yeah.
You don't touch dad stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, but there's like an Apple TV in common rooms. They're still able to watch some TV. But as far as like, again, it seems like overkill for the situation. But it ends up like she has to like leave the house to go work from like a Starbucks or something because she can't do her job. But it is what it is.
Well, I'll teach you to vacuum.
Yeah, gotta have consequences. So.
Yep, absolutely. Someone actually posted this on the Ring website. I guess it's been around so long that someone posted on Ring that says, oh yeah, some guy like walked up and switched on a box and then my cameras all died. And then Ring's like, oh, make sure you're configured properly. Make sure it's within range of your Wi-Fi router. And it's like, no, everything's working. This guy just switched on, interference, and it knocked my cameras offline.
I will say, when it comes to Ring, I'm a little shocked by. So I have like the Ring stick-up cams up in my house, and they're just solar powered, and they have like battery backups, and the place is getting like a crap ton of snow, but these things are fully charged all the time. Like, it's amazing that the solar works through the snow somehow. And I walked out there the other day, and there was like a foot of snow on it, and I had to like wipe it off. I'm like, oh, I'm sure this thing's dead. I'm like, no, it's still fully charged.
Yeah, it's amazing. As long as some light gets through. Well, they use very little energy too.
Yeah.
Depending on
the Ring cameras
settings you have them.
Yeah,
those outdoor cams.
Fun times. The dependency on wireless is just crazy. If you look at the amount of equipment that we have in our homes now, right? So from doorbells to cameras to refrigerators. I mean, I just got a new stove and it's got Wi-Fi connection. I don't know why it needs a Wi-Fi connection, but I never connected it. But I imagine
you forgot to turn off the gas, Glenn.
Yeah. Wow. God, I don't know. Jeez. But like toasters and stuff like that. Do you guys have that? Do you guys even do that stuff? The automation of that stuff in your house? That type of automation?
That does it, and it's kind of nice. Like if you're at the store, you're like, "Oh, let's have pizza tonight." All right, cool. Okay. Just start the oven. But it's also terrible when there's something in the oven, like a box full of cookies that someone forgot to move.
Oh,
yeah.
That would be bad. You could burn the house down.
You definitely could, yeah. So,
yeah. Well, I know
we didn't intentionally go out of our way to get Wi-Fi enabled everything, but just everything you buy today is Wi-Fi enabled. Like our fridge has it. It just tells me to replace the filter, or tells me how cold the pull-out drawer is, or the washer dryer just tells you when the load. That's actually sort of convenient because if you don't hear the sound play, then it just tells you when the load's done. They can move it.
I wish the refrigerator could tell me when milk is about ready to run out or when it's going to expire. That's like AI helpful right there, right?
I think LG tried to do that. He tried to have cameras inside your fridge, and people said that's way too creepy. But it was supposed to do exactly that. It was supposed to tell you when the milk is low and when to buy more apples.
When the kids were home, I can't tell you how many sticks of butter I have, because it's like, hey, do we have butter at home? Like, no, all right, just go buy some more. And it's like, we don't need 10 sticks of butter, right? So come on, guys. Let's
Salted, unsalted, sweet cream. I mean, come on, man. So I will agree with Chris on the washer and dryer. So we have a set that is connected to the internet. It's like, whatever. Like, I don't really care if it notifies me. But the best thing was the troubleshooting of like going through there and seeing if it was being efficient. If like it turned out like the dryer wasn't working to its full extent, and so I went through there and tried to clean it up. But it was the exhaust pipe that goes outside the house had like a not quite like a 180, but it did, right? And so we had to have someone come out and clean that. That way it could actually dry. But it kind of notified us. It was like, hey, there's some weak airflow right here, and then. I unplugged it from the wall, just ported it straight outside. It worked perfect. I'm like, all right, we got a clog in this portion of the drying system. So it was kind of cool.
You know, the fun part of unclogging that is I take my my leaf blower and I shove it into I pull the dryer out, I shove it in the hole, and I put some like a shirt around it so I can make a good seal. And I turn the leaf blower on, and then the next thing I know, there's like fuzz outside on the roof flying all over the place. So, and save myself $200. But
does yours exit straight up as well?
Yeah. Well, there's a bend in there. There's a couple bends in there. Yeah, but yeah.
It's our primary house down here. Like I came home early one morning. I'm like, what the hell? Like, we don't have a fireplace. What the hell's going on over here? And then I realized that the exhaust blows straight out the top of the roof. I'm like, yeah, where's all the lint gonna go? You know what I mean?
Outside, yeah. Outside.
It's on
your roof.
Your pipes.
Yeah, it's on your roof. So
that stuff is highly flammable too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a great fire starter.
Yeah. Well, what makes it sticky is, do you guys fabric softener, that stuff makes it really sticky. Like my wife likes to use beads, and the beads get stuck or whatever, and smelly beads and those stuff I could see just didn't either disintegrate in the wash or get diluted. So I see it sometimes stuck to the netting. So, but yeah,
as long as it's water soluble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
So if there was a, go ahead.
I didn't say I'm with you. Like I don't like whether it's fabric softener or the beads. Like I'm like I don't want them done in my house, and so. And the biggest reason why is like it just gunks up the washer, and so then I end up having to take in buckets of like scalding hot water and vinegar and baking soda and cleaning it out. But you know what's a great fabric softener? White vinegar.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, so that's what I use.
Yeah, it cleans the washer too.
Yeah.
Huh, I'll have to remember that.
My beef is, even though every appliance you own is smart and connected, each one of them has a different app. There's like 30 apps. There's one for the washer. There's one for the rain hood. There's one for the fridge. There's one for this. There's one for that. There's one for the Roomba. There's one for the second floor Roomba.
Yeah, I try to buy everything that works with like the smart things, but then like there's just certain things I don't like. Roomba is a great example, or Shark. And the other one now is like I'm trying to replace a garage door, and like none of the new garage door openers actually work with the Go Control module. I don't know if you know what that is. It's Z-Wave, but like they don't have the way that you can man the middle of that one. Like it's just like you have to use the app. I'm like, I don't want to use the damn app. Like just go buy an old Genie somewhere or something. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, HomeKit was going to try to do that. I think there's always some kind of new standard that everyone tries to come out with. Nobody ever adopts the standard, so we're just stuck with 30 different apps for the different appliances.
Yeah. Wink actually had an egg carton that would tell you how many eggs you had in your fridge at any given point in time. Then eventually they fell off the face
Did you
of
have
the earth.
that, Brian?
No, I never bought that one. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I think my wife went and bought like 60 eggs the other day, and I was like, I guess I'm eating a lot of eggs this week, so let's go.
Well, you go through eggs, right? You're training, so eggs is the thing
All
for
that
you.
protein.
Yeah.
A lot of yeah. But it's just one of those things.
Cholesterol
Like, I never
off
thought
the charts.
cholesterol not off the charts. So.
All right, for our second topic, I'm going to take his face off. One of my
suspense.
all-time favorite movies, Face Off, involves John Travolta stealing the face of his arch nemesis Nicolas Cage and assuming his identity to stop an imminent bomb threat.
I'd like to take his face off.
A new strain of malware called Gold PEBCAK steals the biometric data from your face and socially engineers its victims to scan identity documents to enable online bank fraud. Victims are approached through phishing or smishing messages on the Line app and are written in their local language impersonating government authorities or services.
So is smishing, not to be confused with smashing, that's SMS text?
SMS
SMS phishing.
Yeah. Okay.
You should get a text that says, as your local tax authority, we need your copy of your identity documents, and that's how they get them.
So is Line app the app that people use to scan their face? I have no idea.
It's a messaging app that's popular in Southeast Asia. Sort of like what WeChat and WhatsApp.
Do you see that? I have no idea about this, but I do know that TikTok in the terms of services says that it can capture micro expressions as you're watching videos. That way they can look to see if you're disgusted or really interested in it or you think something's funny. That way they can populate it. So it's just terrifying that it's out there.
Feeds that data back in their algorithm.
Yeah. Isn't one of the concerns, like, I know my wife asks, is like, what happens if I'm dead and you could put that up to my face and unlock my phone? I'm like, I think there's a setting within the Apple phone now that you must be attentive. Do you guys seen that? So
yeah, you have to be looking, paying attention with your eyes open.
I wonder. So I've been meaning to test that on my phone. And like, if my eyes were closed and I swiped up, what would it do? Would it open?
So you want somebody to kill you and then see if your dead face will unlock the phone.
Well, that's no different than someone cutting your thumb off, right? To get it to your phone when it was back then when it was fingerprint driven.
Fingerprint scanning, yeah.
Yeah,
that's that biometric data.
I was just watching the latest season of True Detective, and I don't want to spoil it, but there's somebody frozen in snow, I guess, right? Or the tundra. and eventually they're like screwing around. They're like taking selfies with the dead bodies, but eventually, like, and they get in trouble for it. And then someone walks up and does like, he's getting ready to do the selfie again, and the lady's like, "Hey, don't do that!" And like, he's actually unlocking the dude's phone using it. So he's not
It's actually a plot point.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a plot point. But doesn't Apple have like, I wouldn't say next of kin, but like there's something that you can do to on your phone that if should you be dead, like somebody else can get to your data. Isn't that in there?
Yeah,
That
it's
is
a
an
backup
emergency
recovery person.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Emergency contact or backup recovery. You two guys are my backup, so if anything happens to me, you're the only hope to get access to my crypto.
And only I know how many coins you actually have, Chris. Chris made me do the math one day. I was like, this son of a bitch.
I did.
Son of a bee. Sorry. So what's going on in Southeast Asia where they're using, like, I can't think of any app on my phone today. Like LinkedIn will do it and my banking app will do it as well, but I can't, like, they don't actually have access to the biometrics. They're just leaning on Apple's Enclave to say either yes or no is good Face ID.
Yeah, so they scan your face, but then I think they also ask you to scan like your passport or your ID, and then the thought is they could impersonate you and withdraw money out of your account that way. It's like basically whatever the bank requires to transfer money.
Yeah, but they can't take the money out. They can't. They're not. It's not like they're taking your identity based off of your phone, right? Because Brian said that's in a secure enclave, right? So they're creating a new one based off of that.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. They're intercepting that and asking you to scan it to steal the data that way.
How soon until I just 3D print your face and then put it on my face and unlock your stuff?
MI6, baby.
Yeah, that was the plot. And yeah,
Mission
it was
Impossible?
Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, they made a 3D render of the guy's face. I don't know if it was to trick the biometric or just to impersonate them to go to a meeting, but they made that mask like on the spot.
Yeah.
The latest Mission Impossible was great, but at the same time, I'm like, are we still doing this whole I have a fake face on my face now? Like, this has been around for like 20 years. Like, I'm so bored. Like, do something cooler. Like pull your bones out with replace them with metal ones or something.
Yeah.
That's kinda
that
gross.
was the gag with the original Mission Impossible show. Didn't they? They always had the mask, and they just that was the famous scene. They just rip off the mask and say they were somebody else.
Didn't they do that in
I think that's an
Scooby-Doo?
homage to the original. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, it could be Brian's bank, and they're doing voice recognition as well, right, for authentication. So,
That thing is turned off. We're not falling for that one, boys.
Yep. Yeah, specifically for like Apple users, the attackers will send a link to a test flight link, and test flight is like the way that people beta test applications because that completely bypasses the normal app review process. We did a story on that Thieves prefer to use test flight because they don't have to go through the rigorous scanning that App Store does. But after Apple took down the malicious applications, the threat actors switched to socially engineering victims into installing a malicious MDM profile on their device to give the threat actors full control of their devices. It is important to note that enabling lockdown mode on an Apple device prevents it from being enrolled in an MDM.
Yeah.
Try and get me
Speaking
now,
of lockdown,
suckers.
have you guys installed lockdown? I know Brian has. Chris, did you go through it finally?
I have not yet.
Yeah. I've taken in some of the lockdown protocols, but not all of them, because some of the things I still like getting a text and then being able to transfer that PIN number to your application. It's like makes it that much nicer or easier.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a big
convenience
threat
feature.
for me. Yeah.
It's kind of funny, like they do that, and I'm like, mother effer. And then I think I was doing something with like Air France, and it was like, we can't send you a text message because U.S. government says we can't do it. So check your email. I'm like, okay. I go to check my email, and I find like the 6-digit code, and then I go to type it into the app, and it was like from your email. Do you want to populate this? I'm like, all right, lockdown mode. What are you gonna do? Just only my text messages you won't parse, but you'll do my emails. I'm like, what the heck? Have you guys seen the personal voice setting on your iPhone?
I've seen it. I haven't enabled it yet, though.
Okay, so supposedly, like you go in dark corner of your room, and just talk into there, and it will learn your voice, and then it will you can use it as your own voice.
That would be cool. I'm gonna have to try that out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll tie that into ChatGPT and just have it talk to my wife.
There you go. It learns your voice.
Let me tell you about my dream.
Have a
Okay, I
phone
love that. Tell me more about your dream, honey.
Hold on, let me put you on a call real quick while I'm on business travel. Just set it down.
All right, for our third topic, and this topic we did not get to cover last week. Russian banks have found a clever way to evade sanctions in Apple's App Store. After Russia's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine, most of the world placed crippling economic sanctions against Russia to try and choke them off from the world's banking system. Big tech helped out by discontinuing services in country, and we even did a story about Meraki cloud-managed routers getting remotely bricked if they were physically inside of Russia. Apple complied with U.S. sanctions and removed Russian banking apps from the App Store. Not to be deterred, these banks resubmitted their apps to the App Store with a twist to circumvent Apple's safety checks before the apps are approved in the App Store. Not a new trick, but still clever. The Russian bank publishes an innocent-looking app, such as an app to track bills and budgets, and when Apple's automated checks scan it, it seems innocent enough. If the app detects the user is coming from a Russian IP address, then it switches to the full banking app, allowing Russians continued access to their online banking app. One app in particular requests a configuration file from Firebase. However, Firebase blocks all requests from outside Russia, meaning the config file to switch the Trojan over is only received by users physically present in Russia.
So I don't know how well some of these crippling economic sanctions are going. Did you guys happen to see the video with Tucker Carlson when he went to Russia and he went to the grocery store?
And he said it was like 10 times cheaper for the same amount of groceries. Did a comparison.
Well, I mean, the videos you saw...
Is it like the North Korea thing where they have a beautiful grocery store to take the foreigners to?
So, like, I don't know if it was, a gimmick or not, but to Glenn's point, yes, it was 10 times cheaper, but at the same time, they're, probably 100 times poorer. But the videos that you would see from the economic sanctions from the U.S. was like people like shuffling through garbage cans looking for food. And here it was like they were walking through Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall with nothing but crazy looking things. And then he goes to the grocery store. And then when he goes to the checkout, like, when you go to the checkout stands, like there's like some candy and gum, right? Like largely in all the aisles he's going through, it's all kind of Russia based food, I would assume. I guess I have no idea. But he goes to check out and it's like Snickers and Kit Kat. And I'm like, it's got to be the weakest sanctions I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, like I don't know.
We get Snickers and Kit Kats.
Yeah, it was just kind of wild. Like, and then and that was the thing. It like wasn't crazy expensive. It was really clean. It didn't look as like I was watching. I was like, oh, Russia doesn't look so bad. Like that's kind of crazy looking. Didn't like a bombed out.
If it was
Yeah.
crazy looking, I don't think they would let them air that or record that. It feels a little North Korean here, where everything was set up.
Yeah. If some of the other videos, you see them like they're walking through malls and like the name of a company, McDonald's is now, Back Donald's or Russian Donald's or something like that. Still, and it's like the slightly different M, right? And McRussia or whatever. Yeah. Just like McDowell's based off of, what was that movie?
Putin King instead of Burger King.
Coming to America, yeah. And then, you look at the IKEA parking lot and it's empty, right? And all the furniture's gone. There's nothing left but a store or shelves of a mall. So I don't know if that was all set up like Chris was mentioning, but it'd be interesting to see what the sanctions have really done. I don't think the sanctions have done anything, but what a way, right? There's always a racket and a way around something if you can find it. I think that's what this shows here.
It's China. China's still buying Russian oil like crazy, and they're just laughing at the world.
Yeah.
And they're probably the ones providing them with Snicker bars and Kit Kats because the U.S. wants to do business with China.
Yeah.
What's wild is like we talk a lot of crap about China, but who's even harder to deal with is Egypt. Like when it comes to privacy and infrastructure and stuff like that, like at least in China, you can do a pay to play to get around the Great Firewall. But in Egypt, there's just nothing there. They don't care. They're just like, no, we're gonna do what we want. It's kind of wild.
You know who else is hard to deal with? Syria, Libya, Tunisia.
I mean, all those those banned countries,
dictator countries.
Yeah, those are like, but at least Egypt is a little bit more, I would think that's a little bit more. I mean, you actually have like some startups. I mean, there's been some acquisitions out of Egypt from a technology standpoint that have come out of Egypt. Nothing out of Syria though. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not that war torn.
Hiring ISIS fighters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I once did a gig where they do have a lot of IT help and support in Egypt, but apparently, maybe one of our listeners can educate us. People in the Middle East do not like Egyptians. So they wanted to hire me to do a job in the UAE because all their IT contractors are Egyptian and Egyptians are not allowed to enter the country.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know, like, Egypt, they have like a whole thing, like if you're military age young man, you got to serve. It was very much like Israel. I had no idea it was like that.
Compulsory military service.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of countries that do it. South Korea is the same thing.
Yeah, I knew about South Korea. I didn't know about Egypt. Like, I don't know. I think pyramids, right? Like, oh, that's cool. Like, you go check out stuff. I didn't know it was like so closely governed by the government there.
Yeah, even after the Arab Spring and Mohammed Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood, there were supposed to be some reforms, but now they just went back to a dictatorship. Maybe not as much of a military as it was before, but still a dictatorship.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I would love to see a timeline of like how that just kind of evolves. Like, because I don't think anybody wants to fall face first into a dictatorship. Just over time, it probably just seems like a great idea. It's like, well, we'll just get rid of crime and bad things. And next thing you know, it's like Big Brother.
Unless you're the dictator.
Yeah. Unless you're the dictator.
Yeah, it's a little bit of what's happening in Myanmar right now. There's that military coup, and then right now there's all these pig butchering scams run out of northern Myanmar where they're kidnapping citizens from southern U.S., China, and bringing them over the border to work in these call center scams.
Where's Myanmar? I don't even know what that is. Like
Myanmar. Yeah, Myanmar.
It's in Southeast Asia. It borders China.
Oh, okay.
It's a country.
There's this crazy video of... I think this military coup happened relatively recently, and some girl, I want to say she was doing like a dance in front of like a street intersection, just filming herself. And then in the background of this dancing video, you can see the tanks rolling into the Capitol. Like you'd see this coup happening live in real time, but just because this girl decided to, record herself dancing in the street.
It's crazy how normal people can get. I was watching an interview with some guy, I think maybe he's the first or second Desert Storm, and they're just like talking, and like he's like, so what do you, he's like, yeah, he's like, you come over here, boy, you're gonna leave as a man. And then like it looks like maybe 100 yards away, like there's this giant explosion. He's just like, he just looks over his shoulder, like, anyways, what are we talking about? Like, I'm like, dude, you're not even frazzled at all by this. And then you got this chick doing TikTok dances with tanks going by, like it's just normal everyday stuff. It's crazy.
Meanwhile, in San Francisco, Apple Store gets robbed.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Not even the cops.
Same thing.
Yeah.
RSA should be fun this year. I'm going to find a lot of
2021.
people doing crack and pooping on the sidewalks again.
No, thank you.
I bet they'll clean it up just like they did when G came. They'll probably try to kick out all the homeless people in the area just so people feel safe and want to come back to the city.
Well, it was like that whole, I think I got there early. I think I was looking for Glenn, and I was like, all the sidewalks around the hotels were like wet. And so I was talking to the dude. I was like, was it just raining here? He's like, nah, man, we're spraying off all the feces. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, they were literally cleaning it up.
Just for RSA.
Just for RSA.
Just for RSA.
Maybe you'll be in Vegas someday.
Yeah. Hey, so
makes you
just like, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it makes you wonder, like, when you go in your hotel room, you just wear socks the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can take your shoes off at the door, but no one else is doing it. So, like, how do you?
Yeah, it's gross.
Keep your feet
all that
clean.
stuff into the hotel room.
I'm bringing some shower socks or shower flip flops to walk around in my hotel room.
Do you bring a black light for fecal matter or whatever for other matter? Does that just scare the crap out of you if you did?
Yeah, I've done that before. That's not fun. There's a terrible joke by a comedian.
Hotel industry.
Won't say it on here.
But I mean, going back to the topic, right? This is just whack-a-mole, right? It's Apple, does what they're supposed to do, and then the Russians find a way around it, and then Apple closes it, and then there's another way around it, right? That's literally doing.
As long as the checks are automated, there's always kind of be a way to circumvent it.
Yeah, and there's millions of apps in the App Store. Can't even imagine.
Well, they said one of the telltale signs is the app starts at like 5 meg or 10 meg, and it does something very simple like keep track of your bills, and then all of a sudden it inflates like 300 meg overnight and with a software update.
Yeah, I'm always dumbfounded sometimes when I go to download an app. I'm like, why the hell is this 500 megs? Like, this thing is huge. This crappy coders out there. You heard it here. I think you guys wouldn't make it back in the 80s and 90s.
It's like the Roomba app. And the Roomba app is like 700 megabytes. It's like all you have to do is just send a command to the robot. That's everything else happens on the device.
Yeah, but
why the app has to be so huge.
It needs access to your contact lists, full
your photos,
full control of your photos and files,
your location and
audio, video,
yeah,
your flashlight too for the hell of it.
Yeah,
I have one of those robots that thank God it has it pulls up and then it cleans itself, it empties it all out into a storage container.
The bin, yeah.
That bin, but Jesus, I had the old Roomba back in the day where it didn't have that. And I don't know how I made it in life because I must have been cleaning that out every single day. At least this one is
the old-fashioned way.
Did I ever tell you guys I left the stickers on this one and it was kept saying that the dustbin was full. I'm like, oh, what the heck? I'm taking it apart, and then there's two sides. There's this one part where you just pull this thing out and it's got this little filter. But on the right side, apparently there was another one. I didn't know. I just happened to hit the side and it opened up and I pulled it out and it was this solid gray block. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was so much dust. I can't even explain to you guys. It was like a softball size just clog of just this micro dust. And I was I took it outside and threw it. It was just poof, this magic, this explosion of just dust everywhere. I'm like, oh my God. And I must have had this device for almost 2 years. I had no idea it was even something that needed to be cleaned out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, just ignoring all those warnings. No, it's clearly this device is defective. It's not
instructions. What is that? We don't need to read instructions.
Well, it was but here's the thing. There was no indicator that thing even existed on this device. At least on the recycling bin portion. And I didn't have. Yeah. It's 2 years later. I don't have the instruction manual, but every time I'd pull the Roomba off and I clean underneath it and wheels and all that stuff. And then I pull out the dustbin. But I had no idea about this other microfilter on there. It was crazy.
That is a useful feature of having the apps that it'll show you. It says, hey, your filter's clogged. Click this button and we'll show you how to open it up to access this filter. That is useful.
Oh, geez. I bought a rear view camera that has a video built into it. And the instruction manual was I couldn't even read it. It was so small. So then I went online to pull it down. And it must have been 640 by 480, the resolution. There was no, it was schematics of how to run this through your vehicle. And there's no way. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. Just a bunch of squiggly lines everywhere. It was probably the most difficult thing I've ever installed. It was install time 45 minutes. I'm 4 hours later. I'm finally done with the thing.
Connect the red wire to the hot line, and you connect the black wire to the ground.
Dude, they're just. By the way, and then I come across so much weird things. I'm why are there these wires terminated, but they're just there to be dovetailed into something. So on the back of the vehicle, it was if you're gonna put in some reverse lights, you just tie it in here, and that connects to the aux switch up front. And then if you want to have ambient lighting on the inside of the vehicle, there's one underneath the glove box. I'm what the hell is all this stuff doing here? It's just kind of random.
And this antenna sends all the video and audio to China.
Yes.
And your location. So that way when they come and raid the country, they know where your car is.
Yeah. For our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week.
Wait.
This week.
I wanted to ask a question. Did you see the
Ask away.
Yeah, the EU was trying to kill off sandboxing or something of applications on iOS.
I wouldn't be surprised. The E's always trying to mess with Apple.
But I just Googled it.
What was the premise of it? Yeah.
Well, so like how if you have an app, then one app can't talk to the other. Like it was Sandbox and that thing.
That's a security feature.
It is a security feature, but now apparently it's official. Apple kills web apps in the EU. So I have no idea. We'll have to look into this one. I'll send it over to you. But it's kind of
web apps, yes, because specifically for web apps, because on an iPhone or iPad, an iOS device, all browsers must use the WebKit engine. So even if you have Firefox or Brave or Chrome, you have to use the WebKit engine on an Apple device. So they just basically reskinned WebKit for all these browsers, and then I think Google complained and says, well, we want to use Chromium. We should be able to use Chromium on this iOS device. And then the EU agreed with them. And that's when Apple says, all right, use whatever web engine you want, but only in the EU.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Not as bad as the headline led me to believe.
Yeah, you mean clickbait?
Yes.
A media company would put a misleading headline just to get clicks and views?
I forget where I saw it. I think I heard it from somebody at work was talking about it. So whatever. Never mind. Big nothing burger. Meanwhile, Glenn's over here. He's like, what about the Island IO browser? Do I get my own WebKit?
All right, now for our last topic, and we'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about what's an unwritten rule of life that everybody should know about.
Yeah. Wash your hands after you use the airport restroom, I guess.
Go ahead. Yeah, wash your hands after you use the bathroom. Unwritten rule.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like we shouldn't have to explain it, but apparently we do.
Yeah. The one that probably gets me the most is like you're in a residential area and people want to double park to have a conversation in the middle of the road.
Oh yeah, that's annoying.
That's dumb.
Or the people with the hazard, like you're on a busy street, they just park on the side, double park, hit the hazards, and everyone has to go around you just because you couldn't be bothered to pull into a driveway or find a parking spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you write the golden rule, Chris? No, I don't think so.
Never pass up a chance to pee.
That's a traveler's
not the golden
rule,
shower rule.
Never know when the next time you'll find a bathroom.
So these, I think the ones you have listed are more for the general public golden rules, right? Or general rules. Do we have any that are in tech?
Reboot before calling the help desk.
Yeah.
Right.
That'll fix like 98% of your problems. Just reboot.
What else is an unwritten rule?
Since Glenn alluded to it, I'll give my unwritten rule for the general population. Don't stand on opposite sides of a hallway to have a conversation and make people cut between you.
That's
stand
stupid.
On the same sides so people can easily pass. Oh, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me in our office. I just have to cut there. And I used to do the polite thing and like duck under, so not to interrupt. I'm like, no, you're just being an idiot. I walk right through.
You could be like Brian, just stand in the middle of both of them, so they have to kind of duck and kind of look at each other.
What are we talking about, guys?
Yeah, the associated with that is you had a grocery store, and the person that wants to put their cart on one side and then stare at the wall on the other side and basically take up the whole stinking
block the whole aisle.
Yeah. And it's like. So now I sit there and I do this and I kind of look at one side and I get in front of them. I kind of go like this and I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff just to see if I can screw with them. It just bugs the crap out of me.
Is always back up a thing still?
Always back up?
Yeah.
Back up your data. Yeah,
I feel like iCloud and Google Docs, like I always have a copy of everything now.
Back it up and have offline backups. That's the thing that got a lot of people owned by ransomware is they had backups, but they were local, so those backups got encrypted too.
Well, a lot of that was automated for people now, right? It's like I just turn iCloud on and I have a backup sitting somewhere for the non-technical folks.
Yeah, so the non-technical folks, iCloud backup, OneDrive, Google Drive backup is probably good enough.
Yeah.
Just have to make sure your password is complex enough and multi-factor authentication turned on though.
Yeah. One thing I do want to revisit with you guys is the recovery assistant or recovery user. So I know we've talked about having one of us back each other up or whatnot, but I'm at that point now where I'm thinking I may need to leverage that instead of a family member. So,
well, I feel like
you got multiple.
huh?
if I made you guys
multiple.
my backups, I think you guys would plot to kill me to steal all my money, leave my wife
No.
and kids homeless.
Yeah, I think you got the
Zero
wrong
trust,
person.
baby. Zero trust.
You got the wrong person. So
Trust no one, and then when you die, then no one can access your data or your money.
I don't think it's the problem that I can't trust my kids. I think I just can't get them through the technical aspect of recovery. Like, how could you screw this up any more than how easy it's supposed to be? Whereas one of you guys would actually be able to walk them through technically how to do this. Correct them if I'm wrong. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
100%.
we'll be there to help you.
Yeah. Not only like in person. Set aside some funds to have him come over here and take care of business. Although I feel like my son could probably do it at this point in time. But what if he's with me and we both die? That'd be really sad.
Yeah.
That would be sad.
Yeah. How about just saying
people-
thank you? How about just saying thank you? You open a door, unwritten rule, nod your head and
Yeah.
say thank you, right?
Yeah.
Look up. Quit looking down at your phone as you walk through the threshold. So
Yeah, not that hard. Or holding the elevator for somebody as they're clearly running to try to catch it with their arms full of stuff. And
I always close it if I can.
close.
I'm sorry.
That's because half the time you're getting back to your hotel room to go take a dump. So
Nothing wrong with that. Man, there was an explosion this morning. I'll tell you what.
I'd hold it for you, but then there'd be a huge mess in here, so sorry.
Yeah.
I did you a favor.
What about dental hygiene? That's carry some mints, chew some gum after 12 o'clock in the afternoon if you're in the office, for crying out loud.
Yeah. It was funny when I would order catering orders for like large sandwich orders for customer meetings or something. There's one restaurant in particular. There's a checkbox, I think, near the end of the checkout that said no onions. Like, you just check this box and they won't put onions in any of the food that you ordered, the salads or the sandwiches or anything.
along the same lines, though, you got those same people that, like, when they get back to the office, they brush their teeth in the bathroom, and then you're like, you go to wash your hands, you're like, there's chunks of something inside the sink.
Oh,
like,
that's messed up.
gross. That's gross. It's like, I don't want to see.
We had to
your
put up
stuff
a
inside
sign
there.
in our bathroom that told people, like, yeah, clean. If you brush your teeth in the sink, clean up after yourself.
Yeah,
my
that's just common sense.
That's a thing.
So my first day of work at Zscaler, guy was like, you need to come into the office. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to be able to work here. Like, this dude's making me leave Arizona to come to San Jose. So I get over there. He's like, yeah, you'd be working at this desk. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, a couple hours into it, I got to take a piss. So I go in there and, I look at myself, see how I'm doing. I'm like, splash some water on my face, my head, looking a little shiny. Take some paper towels, dry off. Guy proceeds to, introduce me to like 1,000 people. And then later on, eat some food. I'm like, it's time to, go evacuate the old bowels, go in the restroom, look in the mirror. Zscaler was using arguably the cheapest paper towels that as I wiped my head, it left fuzzies all over it. Everywhere. And so for like 3 hours, I'm walking around Zscaler saying hi to people, and it looks like I have some sort of skin disease. Not one person says
dandruff.
yeah, like, this bald dude's got some bad dandruff. And Chris, you probably saw it too that day. You're probably, this guy's weird. And like, it was all over my shoulders. And I'm like, but like, people suck sometimes. Like, if you got something on your face and your teeth, on your head, just tell somebody. Just don't. I don't want to get home and find out I got some pepper in my teeth. Don't be a jerk.
I don't want to turn this about the bathroom etiquette. What about people that have conversations inside the stalls? It's like, dude, really? You can't wait to have this conversation outside?
Or talking over the urinal walls.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, I always
That
I
for
tried.
sure is an unwritten rule.
I reach underneath there and try to dab people up. Or you guys talking about like being on the phone?
Talking on the phone and having an actually business conversation with a customer. It's like, no, thank you.
It's like, you don't care that you hear the flushing in the background?
Yeah.
I think I told that story of going to use the restroom like during like a 4-hour long workshop remote and have my headphones on, thought I was muted. And then I was talking to the urinal. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was an accident. All right.
All right. Switching it off of bathroom talk.
Sorry.
Let people come off or come out of something before going in. So it could be an elevator, it could be a train, it can be anything. Let people come out before you get on and make things worse by not going in while they're trying to come out.
I gotta say, like, based off of all these, like, who are your parents that didn't teach you these things? Like,
Clearly
I know
they
my
have
parents
good role
taught me this
models.
stuff. Yeah, I know my parents taught me these things. It's like, be polite, don't yell, don't be loud in public, don't run around at a party, and it's just common sense. This is just crazy that we have to talk about this.
Yeah, one of the more common things, I guess, that's becoming more common recently. Don't come to a dead stop at the bottom of a stairway or an escalator to look at your phone.
Yeah, that could be hazardous to everyone's health.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially a busy airport elevator or escalator.
Yeah, just a boom. Like you're gonna get a cart to the back of your ankles.
If someone came up to you in the airport, and let's say it's not for business, they just came up, like you and your wife are traveling and do something, I have no idea, and they're like, hey, we're looking for somebody that will change their flight plans and go anywhere in the world with us for at least 24 hours. Would you say yes or no?
Some creeper. No, I'm probably gonna get murdered.
No, they have a YouTube channel, millions of followers. This is something that they always do.
Well,
Not that,
I
but
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know because I don't watch any specific YouTube channel.
But no, let's say they open their phone like, hey, no, we're like, this is our group. It's Mr. Beast, right? He's like, hey, come with us.
Oh, let's go.
You're in.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must have at least 1 million subs, and it can't be
Yeah.
one of those like prank channels.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like I don't think I've ever watched a Mr. Beast video, but I know exactly who he is.
It like specifically for him, I think it would be funny because I can imagine him making a video like he'll take you somewhere, he'll like destroy your luggage, he'll leave you in the middle of the desert. Like he'll never leave you hanging, and then at the end he always makes you whole. Like I think there's one video he made, his friend was not in on it at all, and he took a crane and like picked up the friend's car, dropped it from a really high height and destroyed the friend's car. And you know, the friend was genuinely mad, but then he bought him like a really nice car to replace it with.
And I got paid the expensive insurance on this new vehicle, so it's a lose-lose.
Right.
He was better off. I don't know why that
You
reminded
really
me.
do him a favor.
I remember I was in high school. I was like, man, CDs are stupid. Like, no one's ever going to do that. And I had like all these cassettes, and I left them in the backseat of my car, and it was on a seatbelt, and it melted. And I was like, well, guess who's buying CDs now? So I just had to have a catastrophic event to just move me to the next medium.
Yeah.
But you, Brian, would you go if somebody propositioned you and your wife to travel with them?
Oh, yeah, in a heartbeat. Why not?
What they
Should be
said?
fun.
What if they said only your wife can't come?
I say, wife who? Just kidding. Oh,
Bye, Felicia.
Here's $100. Go get dinner on your own.
yeah. Tell the kids I said hello.
Yeah. All right. Well, we continue to get great comments about our
No, there's
dad
one more.
joke of the
One
week.
more unspoken one. And they
Just
say
one
it
more.
all the time on
Fine.
planes.
Go
You know, you
for
don't
it.
give me a second to catch my breath, Chris. You're just on to the next thing.
I always wait, and there's like 5 seconds of dead air.
Awkward
I'm like, all right,
pause.
moving on.
You count really fast. So, on a plane, whatever you're listening to, you have to have headphones. If you play that stuff that's blaring, you deserve to get throat punched. I don't care if you're 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they specifically call that on the pre-flight announcements now, don't they? They said if you're listening to music, you have to use earbuds.
Yeah, I heard on an American flight recently, but Southwest hasn't made that jump yet.
So here's
Again,
one for you along the
that
same
goes
lines.
back to Glenn's point. It's like, how are you raised that
Yeah.
you won't think everybody wants to listen to what you're listening to?
Yeah,
And
no
the same
kidding.
thing for us, the BART train, the
Anywhere.
bus, just
Anywhere.
public transit, just blasting music through your Bluetooth speaker.
Well, my mom and dad used to have conversations on speaker wherever they went. And it wasn't because they wanted everyone to hear the conversations, it's because they were deaf and they still play that way. And I'm like, no, turn that off and put that thing up to your ear. Don't do that. And so I had to turn around and teach them.
Buy AirPods.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to bet. Oh, go ahead, Chris or Glenn.
No, please. You're on the same line.
No, I'm willing to bet that Chris was not this person, but you were, Glenn. You were the same as me. Back in the day, you went out, you modified your vehicle, maybe you put some exhausts on there, maybe you had a couple
fart can,
fart box,
some wheels,
some glass packs. But no, more importantly, you wanted everyone to know what you're listening to, so you threw some subs in there. Maybe the Rockford Fosgate, maybe it was MTX, maybe it was JL Audio, and you cruised everywhere, and everyone knew exactly what you're listening to. Am I right or wrong?
I still have that car. Yeah, I still have
on
my,
you, Brian.
my FJ is still built that way. Yeah, my FJ is still built that way. If you ever come up, we'll take a ride in the FJ. You'll know what I'm talking about.
I'll be feeling it, the bass.
Yeah.
So, Chris, you were that guy as well?
I was that guy. I'm going to go find the picture. I had two 10-inch subs. I think I had like a 600-watt amp in my trunk, too.
Were they Rockford Fosgates?
I don't think they were Rockford. I don't remember the brand. I'll have to look it up, but they were a decent brand. It wasn't like the made in China stuff.
Nice.
Well, I mean, everything's made in China, but you know what I mean. It wasn't the generic stuff you get on eBay.
Yeah, were you building your own boxes, too? Were you building your own custom boxes?
No, I didn't have the wood shop to do that.
You don't
Forget
need
wood
much.
shop. It was just tools. Yeah, it was just a couple saws and maybe a sawzall. Not a sawzall, but a jigsaw.
It's Sawzall. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's all janky.
hey, I didn't say it was good. It was good. I just said I was trying. So
I was like, when it came to speakers, I was always a JL Audio fan. What about you guys?
JL Audio. Really?
Yeah, the bass.
I have to look up the brand.
I'm Alpine. I always went Alpine.
Okay. Yeah,
an
Kicker
Alpine
was
head
another big
unit.
one.
Yeah. Kickers, yeah.
Kicker was big. Pioneer.
For me, it was a combination of Alpine and Rockford Fosgates. So great.
You couldn't beat a Fosgate amp back in the day. They were dope. Power Punch 500 is what I had.
Yeah.
I think
Plus the
GL Audio
cables.
just got bought by Garmin.
Really?
Yeah. It's funny. Like I know somebody. He's like, remember when Trump put all the sanctions and said you can't. You know what? Never mind. I can't say this. I'll probably get him in trouble.
Tell us offline, Brian.
Yeah.
What head unit did you guys go with?
Alpine.
Alpine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had Sony's for a
They had the
bit.
best audio.
I had Sony's for a bit, then went to Pioneer, and then I ended up with Alpine at the end. So, actually,
I didn't really care about the head unit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Spent all the money on the audio.
Yeah, it depends what my buddy was able to offer me from his nights perusing around town. So
Secondhand.
slightly used. So,
Only slight few scratch marks on it.
yeah, that's right.
The head unit was important because if you wanted to run your speakers without an amp, you needed a good head unit. But if you if you got to run it through the amp anyway, then it didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, somehow we got onto car audio talk, but we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
This week, Glenn's up.
Well, I hate one-liners, so I'm going to try and do this. It's going to be a little long here, okay? So there's this guy. He's sitting on death row, and he's sitting on death row because he's known for robbing and killing people on trains. And now his date is up. He's going to death row. For his last meal, they ask him what he wants, and he says he wants a banana. And when they go to electrocute him, because that's the state's process, he survives. And according to the law, it states that, hey, if they give it a go and you are able to somehow manage making it through the electrocution, the state's failed, so therefore you're free to go, right? So he's free to go, and he goes on his way. He gets out, and guess what he does? He goes and commits another murder on a train, right? Robs people, murders a whole bunch of people, and this one is just more egregious than the last. They sentence him again. He gets the death penalty. His date comes up again, and for his last meal, he orders another banana. Needless to say, like, they go to electrocute him and it doesn't work again. So he gets out again one more time and does the same thing, just as bad, if not worse than the other one, right? Electrocution comes up, and his date's coming up, and this time the jailers are like, no, we're not giving you a banana, right? And they give him steak and potatoes. Well, they go to electrocute him, and guess what? He survives, and everyone's like scratching their heads. So 2 bananas and and steak and potatoes, and they still can't get him. They go, dude, what's going on? And he goes, I guess I'm not a good conductor.
Wow.
Come on, I don't get a good one for that. Come on,
That was a good one. I like it. Good job, buddy.
There's a lot of build-up on that, Glenn.
Sorry.
All right, to wrap things up, hardwire your cameras whenever possible or use local storage. I'm going to take his face off.
I'd like to take his face off.
Russian banking apps are inside Trojan App Store apps and don't block the hallway. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rated us 5 stars to the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is search for the PEBCAK Podcast in your favorite podcast listening app. For our co-hosts Brian Deach and Glenn Medina, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, guys. I gotta go. I'm late for a call.
Have a nice day.